What's up, guys? Hokage Puya here. AFC qualifying for the World Cup ended yesterday. The June games just ended. Um, Important note, this is the end of round two. This is officially the end of round two. So from all of the 9 groups, 2 teams from each group are advancing to the third round, the final round of Asian World Cup qualifying to make it to the 2026 World Cup. And yeah, as you can imagine, with the groups ending, there are some interesting results, some desperate teams. And so we got some interesting clashes, some intense games this round. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to go through every single group. Group A through I think, is 9 groups. All 9 groups, group 1 to group 9. Break it down real quick, review, talk to each other, chat. Let's catch up. Since the last time out, we talked about the March games back in April when I released that video. So without further ado, I don't want to waste you guys' time. Let's get into it. Round 2 ended. Let's start with Group A. India, Qatar, Afghanistan, and India and Kuwait. In the end, as you can see, so results to the left of the screen, final group standing bottom of the screen. Qatar and Kuwait end up advancing to the third round. Qatar in first, Kuwait second, India third, and Afghanistan fourth. Yeah, the key match in this round was India versus Kuwait, and they drew, which ended up favoring Kuwait in the second game. 0-0 draw. You could see to the left of the screen. However, Afghanistan was not going to be an easy since they also drew Qatar in the first games last week on Thursday, 0-0. That's impressive. That's an impressive result. Qatar, you know what they like to do. They've been on fire, 2-time Asia Cup winners back to back, bringing foreigners into the team and everything. That's a good result for Afghanistan. So it was not going to be easy for Kuwait to actually beat Afghanistan to secure the second place. However, Kuwait got the job done. Tight, intense game. In the end, so many yellow cards for Afghanistan. They were getting desperate. They were trying to get the win and turn the result around to give themselves a chance, because the chance was there to still get second for Afghanistan. This group, Qatar was flying away in first place, but for Kuwait, India, and Afghanistan, all 3 teams had a chance at second place to get to the third round. So they got desperate, but Kuwait got it done, 1-0 win. And in Qatar in the second games, 2-1 Qatar win over India. Shame for India. Huge controversy, though, I should say, in the game. India was winning 1-0, but Qatar's first goal, I'm sorry, it was rigged. Qatar's first goal should not have counted. The ball went over the goal. The ball went over the end line, and it was kept into play after the ball was already fully over the line. But the Qatari player pulled it back into the field. They score the goal 1-1, and you can imagine Qatar getting that goal shifts the momentum of the match. Qatar get their gears start shifting, and they get the second goal. They win 2-1 against India. And yeah, big controversy. That you guys go look at the replays yourself. Go watch the highlights yourself. The whole entire ball for Qatar in that first goal was out of bounds. It was out of bounds, yet somehow the refs just magically didn't see it, because luckily for Qatar, the refs magically didn't see the ball go out. And they gave the goal for Qatar, which shifted the whole entire game. Because if India won this, say 1-0, it was going in that direction. If India won this game, they get 8 points, and they're going to the third round of qualifying. So India fans, I could see your frustration, but I'm sorry, India, you cannot complain, because they dug them. India, you guys dug yourselves into this hole. You cannot lose at home against Afghanistan like you did earlier in these groups. Earlier in these group games. So India, it's unfortunate, it's controversial, but you can't complain, because these things happen, especially you're playing against Qatar. Are we surprised? No one really isn't surprised that happened for Qatar there. India, it's rough, it's harsh, but it is what it is. You end up going out third in the group. Qatar and Kuwait going to the third round of qualifying. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they do in the third round. Let's see if Qatar tries to rig some more games in the third round. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, and in the end, Afghanistan, unfortunately for them, just wasn't enough as well. They end up bottom. Afghanistan, I would say this group is pretty evenly matched. I would say for Afghanistan, they are probably, out of all the teams that got fourth place in their group, they're probably the first or second strongest fourth place team. It's just unfortunate that they were in an evenly matched group and they couldn't finish higher. But yeah, it is what it is. Group A, Qatar and Kuwait advance. Group B, our friends, North Korea, Japan, Syria, Myanmar. Japan, man, looking very, very strong this time around. Moriyasu got to play two experimental lineups because Japan was well in control of this group. He played two very experimental lineups against Myanmar and Syria. I think both starting 11s were completely different, besides maybe Nakamura and Ritsu Duan started both games, I think. But besides that, completely different defense both games, completely different attack and midfield both games, and they still got two 5-0 wins. The first one against Myanmar, not that impressive. Everyone scores against Myanmar, one of the worst Asian national teams of the Confederation. But 5-0 against Syria. Yes, Syria post Asian Cup has not been in great form, but 5-0 against Syria, that's a big result for Japan. Moriyasu, that just tells you the strength and depth of the Japanese team. So much changes to the starting 11, so many tactical changes, and he still pulls away 5 goals in both games, 0 goals conceded. And if you can see in the table bottom of the screen, 24 goals conceded, 24 goals scored for Japan, 0 conceded across 6 games. Japan is looking strong. Guys like Ito and those guys in the back. Ito, by the way, just signed for Bayern, looks like, so huge move for him and huge move for Japan as Asia and Japan's presence grows in the big clubs in Europe. Bayern already having Kim Min Jae and now getting Ito, so huge for Asia. But yeah, Japan looking strong. North Korea, man, the key clashes here was North Korea and Syria for who's going to get second place in the group. Syria in the first game against North Korea somehow lose. I don't know why all of a sudden. I still don't know what happened in the North Korea-Japan game where when Japan was supposed to play North Korea at North Korea's home, the game was canceled and they lost 3-0 on a forfeit. Japan got an easy 3-0 win there. All of a sudden, it's okay to play North Korea now. I don't know what's happening there. And Syria go and lose 1-0. And that's a big blow that knocked their confidence down. They lost 5-0 to Japan after. Syria was in prime position to get second place in this group, but that North Korea game, you have to win that. At least draw it. But you have to at least draw or win that game, and they didn't. And it all falls down for them in North Korea. Congrats to you guys. 4-1 win against Myanmar. Even letting Myanmar score against you is kind of embarrassing, North Korea, so don't get yourselves hyped up. Yeah, there's no way North Korea make the World Cup, right? They're going to the third round of qualifying, but there's no way they're getting to the World Cup, right? I mean, how crazy would that be if North Korea pull up to the United States, that dictator Kim Jong-un, that asshole that, I don't even know if Korea pulls these, does Korea feed the national team players? I don't know. Like, the country is messed up and everything, and Sir, General Kim Jong-un, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I upset you. Oh, shit, guys, he's mad. Kim Jong-un, I'm sorry for speaking about North Korea badly. I'm sorry. You guys will make it to the World Cup. You guys will make it to the World Cup. Please forgive me. You guys are best team in Asia, 5-time World Cup winners, better than Brazil. I'm so sorry, Kim Jong-un. Please forgive me. Do forgive me. Please, Kim Jong-un. Do forgive me. Oh, you guys, Kim Jong-un, me and him go back. Look at him, he's smiling. Kim Jong-un, you cheeky guy, Kim Jong-un. Well, listen, we'll get a beer in North Korea one day, my boy. I'll be back there, Kim Jong. Look at he's smiling now. He's happy. Listen, you guys, I've known Kim Jong-un for many years. We don't want this guy, Kim. Tell him we don't want this guy, Kim. But we do want this guy, Kim. I'm sorry, best team, 5-time World Cup winners, North Korea. Better than every national, the best team, best Asian team, Kim Jong-un. So thank you very much, guys. Let's just move on real quickly. Yeah. So that's Group B, guys. Japan and that was close. Japan and North Korea advanced to the third round. Syria and Myanmar, sayonara. Group C, China, Thailand, South Korea, Singapore. South Korea dominating this group, looking strong after the, I'll say a disappointing Asia Cup, weirdly, because they got to the semifinals, right? But they weren't convincing. South Korea was nowhere near convincing that whole tournament with Jurgen Klinsmann. This time with the South Korean coach, I'm forgetting his name. I don't even want to say it. I don't want to get canceled. But yeah, they look stronger. 7-0 win against Singapore. Kang In-lee and Heung-min Son were on fire that game. They return 1-0 win against China. China made it difficult for them because, as you can see, guys, look at the groups. Look at the group result on the bottom. China, Thailand, 6 games played, obviously both. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses for both. 9 goals scored and 9 goals conceded for both. And 0 goal difference, obviously 8 points for both. Crazy close between China and Thailand. In the end, because it's so even, China did end up beating Thailand in Thailand in the first game of this group. And so they advance on head-to-head score on Thailand over Thailand. So harsh way for Thailand to leave qualifying, but it is what it is. You cannot in the qualifying, guys, when you have those home games, you have to win against your competitors in the group at home. Thailand, at home is not expected to beat South Korea, but your competitors in this group are always going to be China and Singapore. You have to beat them at home, and Thailand didn't beat China at home, and they paid the price. And China end up advancing second. It's tough. I liked Thailand impressed me at the Asia Cup, and I thought they would. I thought the form that they showed in Asia Cup, the attacking style they showed at Asia Cup, I thought it would translate more post tournament in these qualifying games, and it kind of has, but not to the extent I expected. And in the end, Thailand shoot themselves in the foot and lose on head to head over China. And so obviously Singapore never had a chance. One of these fourth place teams that are just there to basically come and take their loss and maybe sometimes get a draw and take a surprising point off someone. But yeah, it is what it is. China and South Korea advance. And yeah, man, South Korea with the South Korean coach, they're looking stronger, just like Japan. So priming themselves for another World Cup appearance. And yeah, third round, let's go. We'll see what they do. Group D, Chinese Taipei, otherwise known as Taiwan, Oman, Kyrgyzstan, and Malaysia. In the end, Oman finished first, Kyrgyzstan second, Malaysia third, and Taiwan or Chinese Taipei, whatever you call them, in fourth. This is a rare group in Asia Cup, Asian World Cup qualifying. First, second, and third all had a chance to finish first place in this group come the last round of games. That is very rare. Obviously, the outlier team, Taiwan, never had a chance. One of the worst teams in the Asian Confederation. They got 0 points expected. And then, in the games against Malaysia, Kyrgyzstan, and Oman, everyone was evenly matched with each other, close games, and you have a very close points distribution. Usually Malaysia, usually 10 points gets you second place at least, and advance to the third round. But Malaysia, in this case, Kyrgyzstan and Oman get 11 and 13 points respectively, and Malaysia, that's harsh. Malaysia, Thailand, these teams that played really, really well in these qualifiers, in my opinion, are going out and not getting a chance to make the World Cup. It sucks. Malaysia, young team. I thought, personally for me, when these groups are announced, I thought, Malaysia's young team that's coming up would actually play better than Kyrgyzstan's team. Kyrgyzstan's team is kind of old. Some younger guys are coming into the team, but definitely I really thought there was a shift for Kyrgyzstan and they're going to be in a rebuilding phase. And I thought Malaysia with their young team are going to trump them in this group. But in the end, I underestimated Kyrgyzstan, man. They got it done second place, got the 1-1 win against Malaysia, and that was the key game. That game was so intense, guys, Kyrgyzstan versus Malaysia. That game, whoever won that game would have basically guaranteed themselves in as a second or first place team in the group. But they drew. And that ended up not favoring Kyrgyzstan, to be honest. But Malaysia ended up going and getting the job done against Taiwan as they should. And, I was thinking after that tie, Kyrgyzstan, shoot, I think Oman will probably beat you guys. They're overall probably the best performing team in this group. But they pulled the draw out, 1 more point. And yeah, either way, though, I just realized even if Kyrgyzstan lost on 10 and they got 10 points, I think they would have gone through on goal difference anyway. But Kyrgyzstan did almost bottle it. 2 draws in the last 2 games. It is what it is, though. They did enough in the first 4 games to secure themselves second place. Oman, congrats to them. Strong qualifying for them. 2 wins against Malaysia also during the group. So deserve for Oman first place, Kyrgyzstan second, and Malaysia. It's harsh. It is what it is. I'm going to keep saying that's the thing about qualifying. It is what it is. Even in the finest margins will knock you out and ruin your chances at getting to the World Cup. Malaysia, I'm sure Malaysia, say if Malaysia got out and into the third round, I'm sure Malaysia would have a great chance at making the World Cup. But points margins, goal margins, the finest lines are what knock teams out in these World Cup qualifiers. And it is what it is. Congratulations, Oman, Kyrgyzstan. Let's see what you do in round 3. Malaysia, condolences, but it is what it is. Group E. So basically, this is a 2-horse race group. Turkmenistan and Hong Kong. Yes, they're not the greatest teams, but I was so disappointed with them. Like, you would think Hong Kong and Turkmenistan, to give yourself a chance in this group, one of you two have to at least beat each other. But those two drew each other in both games. So you end the group off losing to all your games against Iran and Turkmenistan and only drawing against each other. This is one of the most lopsided group points distributions I've ever seen. Turkmenistan and Hong Kong both finishing off as 2 points. Horrible teams. I don't know how they even got to this stage. Hong Kong with terrible defense, Turkmenistan same thing, and then have the attacking power to at least beat each other. Come on, guys, embarrassing stuff. And on the upper half, yes, Iran and Uzbekistan, they get out first and second respectively, going to the third round. Kind of expected. But I was seriously, over the course of this group, overall, Iran does deserve first place and Uzbekistan does deserve second place. But I was not impressed with Iran or Uzbekistan. And I didn't post an Iran post-match reaction to the Uzbekistan game, but both teams, Uzbekistan and Iran, when they played each other, just not good enough. Nothing exciting, missed chances, flat, timid. And for Iran specifically, Uzbekistan, yes, like them getting second place. I'm more disappointed, honestly, with Iran, although I was underwhelmed with Uzbekistan. Don't get me wrong. I was much more disappointed with Iran in these two games. Defensively weak against Hong Kong and against Uzbekistan. Defensively weak. Lucky Uzbekistan didn't score, and to only produce one shot on target in 90 minutes against Uzbekistan at home. Not good enough, man. So Iran and Uzbekistan get through, although rather unimpressively, in my opinion. Just because their group was so bad and Turkmenistan and Hong Kong couldn't do anything, they got through. But warning signs for Iran, man. I think the main issue with Iran is, and I hate to bring my Iran bias into this and talk more about Iran, but Galinoy, the coach, had promised to play younger players, but all of a sudden he's relying on the old guard again and not giving younger players chances to inject some life into this team. And you saw in this home game against Uzbekistan, where's the life? Where's the style? Where's the, youthfulness of the team? It's not there. So hopefully for the Iran coach, Amir Galinoy, he sees that and he starts giving younger players more chances in the next 2 years building up to the World Cup. Group F. So yeah, back to Iran. Congratulations to Uzbekistan, but unimpressive overall in the group. Group F. Iraq, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines. Iraq, total control of this group. 6 wins out of 6, 17 goals scored, 2 assists, 2 goals conceded. Hussein scoring the goals again. As long as Hussein is going to score the goals for Iraq and be that talisman for them, Iraq is going to be dangerous. And I do think going to the third round, Iraq can make a World Cup. I see it. I could see Iraq making a run in round 3 qualifying and being there in 2026 in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. But like many other groups, there's a clear first place. The clear second and third place contenders were Indonesia and Vietnam. Indonesia, basically, after the last games, had basically confirmed their place as second place. You can't really trust Vietnam, guys. Vietnam, they're I kind of clowned them in the Asian Confederation. Some of their fans seem to overhype their team at times. And you see here, Vietnam almost dropped points to the Philippines. Like, you can't do that. At home, you only win 3-2 against the Philippines. Unimpressive. And, Indonesia might have had a little bit of a scare because they lost to Iraq, and Vietnam did end up eventually getting the win against the Philippines. And in some, Marvel multiverse, if, let's say, Vietnam were to beat Iraq in that second game and Indonesia were to somehow lose to the Philippines, Vietnam would have actually gone through in second place. But you guys, we're talking about, who am I kidding? That was never going to happen. I'm just kidding. That was never going to happen. Vietnam, we can't trust them. They got in third place. This was one of the clear groups where you have a clear first, second, and third place team. Iraq, the best teams. Indonesia, the second best team. Philippines, the worst team. And Vietnam, the third best team in this group. Clear as day. Congrats, Iraq, Indonesia. Let's see what you do in the third round. Next group. Wait, I'm losing track of my letters, guys. This is Group G. Group G, Pakistan, Saudi, Tajikistan, Jordan. Jordan continuing their form from the Asia Cup from after getting to the final. They actually come out on top, first place in this group over Saudi Arabia. And I told you guys last time in March, April, don't be surprised if this happens. I could see Jordan top in this group, and they did. Congrats to them. They got a huge win against Saudi Arabia, big 3-0 win against Tajikistan. And what I like about Jordan, man, goals from everywhere. Like Japan, goals from everywhere. They don't rely on one or two main guys to score the goals. Jordan is, everyone scores. Everyone's getting chances, everyone's scoring, and it makes them a really dynamic attacking team. And I'd love to see Jordan. Let's see what happens in round 3 qualifying. But I'd like to see this attacking style, this style Jordan plays. I'd love to see it in the World Cup to represent Asia in 2026. But we'll get there when we get there. So Jordan, congrats to you guys, first place. And Saudi, man, yes, they are tied on points technically, and goal difference got Jordan through in first. But Saudi, for all the money that's being pumped in the Saudi Pro League, bringing in Roberto Mancini, getting second place, and I know Jordan is playing a great football, and they made the final of the Asia Cup, but to get second place, Saudi, that's just a huge embarrassment in my eyes. It's largely due to the fact of how much money is being pumped into this national team and in the league in Saudi to bring all these European players. Ronaldo, Neymar, all these dudes, Brozovic, the names go on, Conte, Benzema. But then it's not translating to the Saudi Arabia team, national team, and we're seeing that. So for Saudi, Roberto Mancini has a lot of thinking to do. Maybe give some new guys some chances in round 3, because if they continue like this, yes, you beat Pakistan 3-0, but everyone beats Pakistan. Pakistan conceded 3 goals, conceded 26 goals over these round 2 qualifying games. But you cannot go and lose at home, especially to 2-1 to Jordan. Yes, Jordan's a great team, but you can't. So much money is being pumped into the Pro League, the infrastructure of Saudi Arabian football. To not get first place for me is an embarrassment. And Tajikistan, man, unfortunately for Tajikistan, no one saw Jordan exploding like this. No one did. Before the Asia Cup, these guys were losing so many games in international friendlies. And I didn't see Jordan exploding like they have. So I felt like Tajikistan fans and the team probably thought, oh, we're in this for second place. We're going to get second place. In the end, you only get 8 points. You lose 3-0 to Tajikistan in a crunch match. Like Tajikistan, in a must-win game, you lose 3-0. If you're going to do that, you don't deserve to qualify to the third round. And of course, Pakistan probably are they the worst? I don't know. They're one of these horrible Asian teams that, they're not good at football anyway. Those guys are cricket guys. Even though in cricket, Pakistan in cricket just lost to the freaking United States by guys who work at Oracle, tech consultants. So Pakistan, man, you guys got some things to figure out on the sporting front. But yeah, congrats, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, first and second place. Let's move on to the next group. Group H, second to last group. For me, this is the most boring group of the entire qualifying, but it was a standard group. You had a clear first, second, and third place team. UAE was the clear best team. Bahrain was clear the second best. Yemen third. Nepal fourth. Nepal, again, one of these garbage Asian countries that never do anything. And Bahrain, Yemen had a chance at getting second place and going to round 3, but you had to beat Bahrain at their home. That's always going to be tough. And yeah, Bahrain ended up going and getting a result against UAE. And Yemen, bro, how are you drawing to Nepal? First, even to give yourself, say Bahrain lost, they got 10 points, and Nepal, you get an extra 2 points on 7 points. I don't know. I feel like Yemen, they kind of collapsed. 2 draws in 2 crucial games for you guys. Again, just like Tajikistan, you got to play well throughout the entire group, throughout the entire qualifying phase. You can't slip up. And Yemen did slip up. Bahrain cleared the second best team. UAE and Bahrain. Not much analysis on this group. Heading to the third round. I'll see you guys there. And the last group of qualifying, Australia, Palestine, Lebanon, Bangladesh. Australia, the absolute clear team in this group. And everyone kind of expected that. 6 wins out of 6. Like Japan, no goals conceded. 22 goals for Australia. Looking strong. Jackson, Irvine, Lecky, all those guys in the team performing well. And yeah, we'll see them in round 3 qualifying. And Bangladesh, again, never had a chance. Palestine and Lebanon were competing for the second place in this. We're completing for the second place spot in this group. And I won't lie. Now, I think Palestine already had second place confirmed. But I would have liked, personally for me, I would have liked to see Palestine win against Lebanon. Even though they had second place confirmed already, I would have liked to see Palestine. I would have liked to see them win against Lebanon just to show that they're ready for round 3 qualifying, because they're not ending this off on a high note. Don't get me wrong. They are not. Palestine is going into round 3 qualifying on a very bad note. 5-0 loss to Australia. That's a huge L, because Palestine was playing well previously. But to only go home with 1 point in these 2 games, I expected them to beat Lebanon. I wanted them to show me something, but not a good end to the group for Palestine. But they got the job done earlier in the group. Just look at their goals against. Palestine was a hard team to score against. Before the 5 goals Australia put past them, they only had 1 goal conceded. So I'm not really sure what to feel of Palestine right now. Maybe they had second place confirmed and they completely didn't care. But I don't like to see that in a team if they're trying to make the World Cup. Yes, they're in round 3, because in round 3 you can't take your foot off the gas. You could sometimes take your foot off the gas in these round 2 qualifying games, but when it comes to round 3, you better be on your A game. You better be ready to play every single game like your life depends on it to get to that World Cup. And seeing them take their foot off the gas, 5-0 and lose to Australia like that, it's not giving me hope. But they're still in round 3. Maybe they'll shape up. Maybe this was a reality check for them. I don't know. But Australia and Palestine heading to round 3. So, yeah, deserved. That was the qualifying. We're heading to round 3. It's going by so fast. I actually can't believe we're already in round 3 of qualifying. And yeah, we're already in June of this year, you guys. It literally feels like the World Cup ended just a couple months ago still, and it feels like Asia Cup was a month ago. But we're halfway through 2024. The round 3 games are going to be coming out as fast later during this year, when we get to the fall time. And yeah, interesting stuff. I'm not sure if the round 3 groups have been announced yet. I'm not sure. If they have, I'll make a video on that. But if they haven't, let's see what happens. Let's see who gets drawn with who. And yeah, obviously it's an expanded World Cup in 2026. More teams. I am not actually sure how many more Asian teams get a place. We have to see that. But when the round 3 groups are announced, we'll probably do a whole breakdown of that. Breakdown of the groups, who are favorites to get to the World Cup, how many places are open for Asia to get in the 2026 World Cup, first 40-18 World Cup. But yeah, that was qualifying. Congrats to all the teams that made it to the round 3. If your team didn't make it, it is what it is. If you're a Malaysian fan, if you're a Thailand, if you're from Thailand, if you're, any of the third place teams that were this close, it's harsh. I know you got to suck it up. Finest of margins will knock teams out in qualifying. People think the World Cup is finest of margins. Even in qualifying, the margins are very small for failure. So unlucky. Congrats to all the teams that made it to round 3. This has been Okage Puya. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, you guys. I'm going to pump. If you're interested in Euros, I'm going to be pumping out that Euros content, pumping out that Copa America content during the summer. And I always got you guys with the Asia Cup content, content, everything. I got you guys with everything. Come on, man. Shout out to my boy Kim Jong-un. You guys, we almost pissed him off this video. We almost pissed Kim Jong-un off in this video. But don't worry, I'm going to go grab a drink with him, talk about the corruption in this country, and have a toast to the 3rd round qualification. Peace out, guys. It's been Okage Puya. I love y'all. I missed the end video.